Hey guys, this is History Behind the Warrior and welcome to my Q&A. Unfortunately, the habaneros that I've ordered have not yet arrived, so I figured today I'd be talking about some of the smaller questions. That way next week when I'm going to be in severe pain, I'll answer the much more lengthy and bigger questions. And I figured this comment right here deserved a special mention because this is hilarious. Now understand, I couldn't put every single question into this video, but a lot of the questions were the same, so luckily I'll be kind of answering your question despite someone else asking the same one. So first question from Jalen Morgan is, how old am I? Now I'm actually 20, I'm actually extremely young. You wouldn't think it with my voice, I guess, because a lot of people expected me to be either much older or just younger. So I guess that's quite a weird one for everyone. Second question is from Julius Tafe Nolo, I think that's right. Anyway, he asked me what is my ethnicity. Now I had this question quite a bit in the comments. Despite my obvious and mild resemblance to Liu Kang, I'm half English and I'm actually half Thai. I think that's the one question which no one managed to actually kind of get that was of Thai descent. I don't know why, it was just one of the things, a lot of people guess the Philippines, China, Japan. You missed it, but at least now you guys know I'm half Thai. You know we now have to refer to you as Liu Kang, right? It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Now here's a pretty good question from Adam Young. With Injustice 2 coming out, would you consider covering the DC characters in the future? Now I think people need to understand the DC comic book universe is absolutely huge. I would be here for at least 3 hours talking, destroying my voice, explaining everything and every single tiny detail that ever happened with even just one character. So I'm considering doing just the history from Injustice with the characters individually. Put in the comments below if you definitely want to see that, because I would be up for doing something like that, as it is still kind of fighting game related, but I don't want to go too in depth with it. And our next question's from Amano Henry, and he asked, where do I get all my information from? Now to be honest, I can't really specify on it, because I don't just go to one website, I go to multiple ones. I read up as much as I can before I make the video. So essentially getting it from more than just one source makes it more of a reliable piece of information. Our next question is from Rose Scorrett, and she asked me what character was the hardest to talk about in History Behind the Warrior. Now simply the most difficult character to talk about was Bison. Not just because he's the main villain, but it's the fact that due to him being such a big part of the game, he always gets involved with each different character, some being canon, some being non-canon. But it makes him really hard to kind of break down and talk about in about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And as most of you guys know, I messed up pretty bad in that video, and I had to put out another video the next day explaining some of the issues I had essentially with trying to figure out information on the guy, because like I said, he's such a big villain that essentially it makes it really difficult to find reliable sources of information for him. Our next question's from Keandre, and he asked, who do I naturally think is stronger, Ryu or Ken? Now I'm pretty sure this question has been asked since the dawn of time itself, but despite winning more fights against Ryu, I think Ryu actually comes out on top. Not just out of pure skill before you go into it, but one, Ryu has always been the center front of the franchise, and also Ken has a family he has to essentially look after. So I doubt he has as much free time that Ryu does, considering that Ryu pretty much literally just travels around the world just fighting different people in his free time, because fighting. Our next question's from Carl Bloke, and he asks me if I'll ever do Cody or Guy. Now I haven't decided when I'll get around to doing those characters, but they'll most likely definitely be covered. Our next question's from Phoenix X Tekken, and she asked me what's my favourite characters from Tekken, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Now for Street Fighter, it has to be Nash because it's quite a nice twist. I have a thing for seeing people who used to stand for justice essentially completely lose that, and they kind of go into that opposite end of the spectrum, so that way they're kind of borderline bad guy but also kind of good guy. Tekken, I'm gonna have to say I really like Lars. I'm not entirely too sure about why I like him, but I don't know, maybe it's his ridiculous hair. I don't know, so there's something quite cool about that. And Mortal Kombat, I'm probably gonna say the Triborg, considering that you didn't mention if it had to be a DLC character. But no, I essentially love the Triborg. I like the idea of Smoke, Sector and Cyrax and Cyber Sub-Zero just kind of being in one robot already. My only gripe with it is I'm not the best player with Triborg, and ever since he got nerfed a few months back, he doesn't feel the same, man. But yes, definitely those 3 characters are my favorite. Now, next question is from Pat Bradley, and he asks me, what was my favorite episode that I made? Now, despite its flaws, its terrible use of music, my poor editing skills at the time, it's always gonna have to come back to that Scorpion video for me. That video is essentially what propelled my channel. So all credit in the world most certainly goes to the Scorpion video. And next question is from Dirk Bislav. He asks, what Mortal Kombat game do I hate? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I can't really say because there's not just one. I might also say, this is my opinion, you do not have to agree with it, but I'm gonna kind of go on a bit of a tangent here and explain why I do not like those games. Special Forces, because it wasn't a good game. I understand it had this a story driven aspect to it, but it just wasn't that good. I did not like Mythologies because the difficulty curve in that game is simply ridiculous. Mortal Kombat vs DC, which I'm pretty sure everyone on who watches this channel already knows if they've seen the original Scorpion video, mostly due to you censored a Mortal Kombat game. Why? And Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I understand it has every single character ever, but it has one of the worst conquest modes in my opinion. I don't mean the exploring was bad, but I mean the story to it was essentially just meh, and they really copped out with the fatalities in that game. But I will say the one redeeming factor of that entire game was the fact you could create your own character, which is just really cool. Our next question is from Gabriel Matabunio. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. And the question is, why did you do YouTube? Now this is going to be quite an in-depth answer, because some people know about this, some people don't, but I'm just going to explain it to you guys so that way you guys can understand. Now, prior to my channel's birth on YouTube, I was attending university. I was studying contemporary music production and I was really hating it. Because prior to going to the university, I gave up a good paying job. I lost my girlfriend because I had to go study, she went abroad, and I left everything I had here at home, including my consoles, my TV, my friends, to go somewhere and live with essentially drug addicts. And honestly, it really did tear me up inside. I started to excessively drink. I actually started smoking, believe it or not, but I've actually been clean since last year, February. But I think I was so deep in depression that I needed to kind of put my heart into something which it wasn't in. And essentially music wasn't able to fill that void in my heart like it used to, because it just died. My love for creating music had died at university. And I tell you now, that's a really shit situation to get stuck in. So I more or less in my free time was just literally just serving YouTube, just trying to find stuff to watch. Now obviously during that time Mortal Kombat X was actually on the horizon, and I kind of thought to myself, alright, I want to learn a little bit more about these characters. Let's check online. And when I did this, I couldn't find any videos that ran any documentaries or histories about the certain characters. So I ended up going online and reading it. So I thought maybe I couldn't be the only person that's trying to look for this kind of stuff and not finding it. So I guess the metaphorical light bulb went ding over my head, and I just kind of thought, if no one else is doing it, why don't I? That's kind of the entire history in the shortest form before I kind of started up my channel. But let me know in the comments below if you want an entire video about it, because to be honest, I wouldn't mind talking about it, because I think it kind of opens you guys' eyes to the fact that I'm not just a YouTuber, I'm actually a genuine real guy. But I'm 100% a fan first and I'm a YouTuber second. So going on a brighter topic, here's a question from David Wall. This question says, do I play it on Xbox or PlayStation 4? I have both consoles. My gamer tag will be here, so feel free to add me. You can send me some messages if you want to have a match with me, because normally when I Twitch stream, I set up a King of the Hill and we can all have some fun. The next question is from Khalil Baran. I suck at pronouncing names. This question is, what is your definition of balance? A variation that Pig of the Hut really likes to use, clearly. Next we have a question from Darian Suttle, and he asked me, do I watch anime? Now 2 years ago, yes, I was really into anime. Now, not as much, because I can't really pick up an anime that's super good. Because the last one I watched was One Punch Man, and that is one of my favorite animes of all time. But in saying that, it doesn't compare to some of the anime I've seen. I've seen Hellsing Ultimate, which is amazing. and the Fate series, which completely blows my bloody socks off. Now on the topic of anime, we have another question. It's from Derek Gray, and he asks me what's my favourite anime. Now this is extremely difficult for me. Because the thing that got me into anime was Naruto, and that ended really badly. So I ended up watching another show. A show by the name of Full Metal Alchemist. My god, was that show an experience. I love the original animated series where it went off in its own direction, but for me, like, Brotherhood really hit home for me. For those of you who have not seen this series and you want to get into anime, this is the one you want to start off with. It's a beautiful story about two brothers and they're trying to help each other. And it's such a smart, clever story. It's never too over the top, but it's just beautiful. Just trust me on that. But also in saying that, there's two other contenders with Brotherhood. Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, like the 25 episode ones. Fate Zero is fantastic. There's so much philosophy in it. It argues with kind of like, is killing 151 people so that way you can save the 152 people on a boat better? It comes down to just kind of like, is doing the wrong thing sometimes doing the right thing, or are you worse for doing so? It kind of adds this outlook on anti-heroism, I guess. And this is usually a topic a lot of shows don't really tackle because it's very quite muddy in that area. But if you like dark and kind of realistic anime, definitely watch Fate Zero. Now Limited Blade Works is on the complete other end of the spectrum. A lot brighter and vibrant in story. There's characters in it that are just honestly phenomenal. And I guarantee you there will at least be like one character you can relate to in the entirety of the story. Plus the animation quality feels like you could buy an entire country. It is amazing. So definitely check out those three anime, including One Punch Man if you like prefer comedy. I'm not going to really go into too much detail because I'm faffing at this point, but definitely check those out if you want to get into anime. Now we have a question here from Anthony Plays, and he asks me like, what is my setup essentially for building my channel? Now I'm not going to answer it here, but I will show you guys my setup at some point. It is like the most basic bitch setup ever, but it does go to show with a little bit of determination, a bit of money here and there, you can essentially do what I do. So if someone really wants to do YouTube, definitely watch that video. Everything, like all the equipment I use is cheap but is fantastic quality, minus the pop shield, which I don't have and haven't been using for about a year now. We have a question from Manuel Diaz, and he asks me if I'll just be sticking to, well, doing fighting games. I'm not going to read all these questions word for word. Now honestly, I have been kind of disputing in my head whether or not I want to, because I really do enjoy having this as just kind of like my fighting game area, but I'd also love to go into other areas. So I think like on the Wednesdays and Saturdays where I have like the normal history behind, I might throw out some extra stuff in between, and it might be fighting game related, it might not be fighting game related. Also to let you guys know, I purchased Dark Souls 3 the other day. I've never played a Dark Souls game in my life, so if you guys want me to play that and see me get extremely, and I mean extremely salty, please put in the comments below if you want to support it and give it a thumbs up, I guess. God, I'm going to get so angry. Our next question is from Esther Arts HD. He asked, what was my first Mortal Kombat game? Now the first Mortal Kombat game I owned was actually Mortal Kombat 9. However, I did play Mortal Kombat Deception a very long time ago. And I guess with like all the mix of different stuff from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age all kind of merged into like one game, and essentially a fighting game for that matter, I thought it was super cool, so it kind of perked my interest and I wanted to get more into the series. But by that time it pretty much made Armageddon, and well, we know how that turned out. We have a question from Omar Krikesh TV, and he asked me if I'll be doing characters that aren't in fighting games. Now I'll be honest with you, there's a part of me that really wants to do that, but there's a part of me that doesn't. And the part of me that doesn't want to do that is because I don't want to go against the format of what I've already done on this channel. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to do it, but I don't want to kind of oversaturate my channel. Which also kind of brings me to another topic, which I'm just going to talk about briefly now, is the reason why I don't upload a video every single day. Not only do I have things to do in like my own personal life, but it's also due to the fact that I prefer quality over quantity. I feel like I should take time with making videos instead of like being forced to push it out the door, because the second that happens, my hobby starts being a job. So I guess that kind of answers another question of why don't I upload every day. Our next question's from Nick, and he asked me, do I want to do a draw my life in the future? Well, 1,000,000% yes. I've actually got a drawing pad behind me and I've got some pens over there. I really want to get around to doing it, but it's extremely hard to find the free time in order to do it. But definitely no, the idea of that is definitely in the works. It's just me having the time to do it. Our next question is from Daedric Burst, and he asks me, which country do I live in? Now, some people get quite confused with my accent because some think I'm Australian, but I'm actually British. I live in the UK. Our next question is from the Slayer Cannibal, and he asked me, will I be doing Soul Calibur characters anytime soon? Definitely yes. Soul Calibur has always been one of my favourite fighting games. Not one that I've been particularly good at, but I've certainly enjoyed playing. From the Spectre, he looks like Adam Driver. I look like Adam Driver? No, I don't. We have another question from Zero Guilt X. He says, out of 1 to 10, how would you rank yourself in fighting games? Now, to be honest, that comes to which fighting game. Tekken, I'm moderately good at. No way near, like, play online level, because I have good fundamentals, but I can't apply them online. The same kind of goes for Street Fighter. I tried playing Street Fighter 5 online the other day, like my first ever match. Got pretty much demolished by Ken. So needless to say, my Street Fighter and Tekken skills aren't exactly up to par. Mortal Kombat, on the other hand, that's a game that I exceed extremely well at, and I'm quite proud to say that I do. I think for Mortal Kombat, I'm definitely a 7. As in, I'm just above average, but I can definitely go toe to toe with some people in the competitive circuit. Not by any means saying like I could beat someone like Sonic Fox, Foxy Grandpa, or like ketchup and mustard, but I think I could steal a few rounds. Because about a year ago from now, you guys saw me play a bit of Aaron Black, and he was pretty good. My Aaron Black was pretty good back then, but now he's just ridiculous. But in saying that, I've also picked up a few other characters on the way. So definitely, if I stream or something, I will not be playing mainly as Aaron Black the entire time like I used to. Plus, I'm not going to try and like show off all the tricks up my sleeve like a few months before the charity stream, which is still happening by the way. So I prefer to catch my opponents off guard and unsuspecting what I'm really capable of. Now the final question is from Jebediah Timeshare, who asked, how has the ascension to 100k been? Now I'm not gonna lie, it has actually been quite a difficult one. It's taken a lot of time, to be honest. Although it's been a lot faster than other channels, but it's certainly been one that's been very rewarding for me. I've met people who I have always looked up to, and it's honestly like the best experience in the world. I'm essentially like a massive fan meeting people who I've always looked up to, and it's crazy. It feels honestly like a dream of mine has come true. And in saying that, I've become very, very good friends with some of the people here. Like, I always used to watch Dynasty's videos, True Underdogs, Miss Lara Croft, Ketchup and Mustards, and it's crazy to think that I've actually been able to get into contact with them and actually talk with them and befriend a lot of them. It's an opportunity which has just been amazing for me, and it all comes down to you guys once again. Without you guys, this channel would be nothing, and I want to thank you with all of the opportunities you guys have presented towards me. Because I've been approached by so many people now asking me about partnerships, sponsorships, and hell, they want me to do commentary in some places. I don't know why, because I sound so monotone, but it is one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life. But that's really going to kind of sum up this part 1 of the Q&A. Yes, there's 1,000,000% going to be a part 2. And yes, it's going to feature a habanero. Hopefully it will arrive next week, because I actually ordered a habanero. Wait, habaneros, might I add. And well, I was really disappointed. This is why you don't order off eBay, kids. So I was searching online and I found myself, I could get myself a ton of habaneros. They were fucking lying. They gave me habaneros in the way. The seeds for habaneros. But not one bag containing 25. Not 2, 3, 4, or 5. Yeah, wasn't happy when I got that in the post, basically, long story short. But basically, yeah, messed up really bad, really bad. You guys are probably laughing at me at home, and to be fair, I'd probably be doing the same. Sorry, I've read all the questions now. I always take off my glasses when I'm not reading things. But once again, thank you. Feel free to actually put your questions in here as well for next week's episode, because next week I'll be asking like the much longer and lengthy questions whilst I eat the habanero, which it's gonna suck. But that's definitely gonna happen. Plus, I feel like a way of like punishing myself for doing something really dumb. I should probably do the gamma challenge at some point. Put in the comments below if you actually want to see that. I wouldn't mind to do something. Well, I probably would, but hell with it. I'm on YouTube. Let's do something really dumb. Now, as always, guys, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Take care, and I will see you guys next time.